wake up and already feel the weight pressing down. The day hasn't even started, but something inside is heavy, like you're moving through fog. You do what needs to be done: coffee, work, errands, conversations. Yet beneath it all runs a strange undercurrent. Life seems to be happening on autopilot, without you at the wheel. By evening, there's the same familiar emptiness. You replay the promises you made to yourself: to rest, to focus, to finally change something. And once again, they're broken. Shame creeps in, quiet but sharp. You tell yourself tomorrow will be different, but deep down, you know tomorrow will feel like today. The body knows before the mind does. Your chest feels tight, your neck stiff, your breathing shallow. It's as if every cell is whispering that something is wrong, that you're not really here. You smile, you answer messages, you keep moving, but inside there's the nagging sense that someone else is making the decisions. You catch yourself asking, why did I agree to this? Why did I say yes again? Why am I stuck in the same loop? And there's no clear answer. Only the unsettling feeling that choices are being made somewhere beneath the surface without your permission. That's when the thought becomes frightening. Maybe I'm not the one steering my own life. Maybe something hidden is pulling the strings while I play along, half asleep. By the end of this, you'll see why your pain is not a flaw to hide, but a signal, a gift that points to the doorway of your strength. Because the very emptiness you're running from is trying to wake you up. But there's something even scarier, and that's what comes next. You've probably heard all the usual advice: think positive, push harder, stick to discipline. Tell yourself you're just tired and everything will pass. Get more sleep and it will fix itself. On the surface, these ideas sound harmless, even comforting. They promise an easy way out without having to touch what feels dark inside. But you already know the truth. They don't work. Positive thinking can cover the cracks for a while, but it doesn't reach the place where your energy really leaks. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if you're silently drowning in anger, envy, or grief you're not allowed to admit, the shadow will keep steering. Discipline helps only when it's rooted in acceptance. Without that, it turns into self-punishment. You tell yourself you failed because you didn't try hard enough, so you push harder. You follow routines. You force productivity. You tighten control. And the tighter you grip, the more lifeless it feels, because you're building your whole life around avoiding the truth. Something inside you is hurting. The most dangerous illusion is the thought, I'm fine, I'm just exhausted. It gives you permission to ignore the signs: the shallow breath, the stiff neck, the hollow evenings. But that just tired is often the mask your shadow wears when it doesn't want to be noticed. And sleep, while necessary, isn't a cure by itself. You can rest for 10 hours and still wake up feeling like you never left the battlefield. Because when your shadow is running the show, the night becomes its stage. Dreams carrying fragments of what you've tried to repress. Even the idea that you only need to try harder is a trap. The system you've been following was never designed to free you. It was designed to help you avoid pain, to bypass it. And every time you avoid it, the shadow grows stronger. You weren't lazy. You weren't careless. You did what you were told, you followed the rules. But the rules were written for suppression, not for healing. That's why no matter how hard you tried, your shadow kept its hands on the wheel. The shadow rules what you refuse to see in yourself. Every part you deny, the anger, the envy, the hunger for attention, the fear of being left behind, doesn't vanish. It slips underground and keeps working. While your conscious mind sleeps, both at night and during the day, these hidden parts make the choices for you. That's why you keep saying yes when you meant no. That's why you fall into the same arguments, the same habits, the same regrets. It isn't that you're weak. It's that the unacknowledged voices inside you are steering. They were planted long ago. The early commands you absorb without questioning. Be convenient. Don't envy. Don't get angry. Don't want too much. Those phrases became walls, and everything that didn't fit the wall slid into the shadow. Your body remembers. The tight throat when you want to speak but swallow the words. The heavy chest when you smile but feel resentment underneath. The shallow breath when you're pushing yourself to be good while every cell wants to scream. These aren't random sensations. They're signals from the shadow pulling the strings. And here's the key. The way out isn't doubling down on control. It isn't silencing yourself harder or pretending those feelings aren't there. The way out is expanding awareness, turning toward the shadow instead of running from it. If these words strike something in you, if you feel the recognition rising in your body, don't ignore it. If these words resonate, subscribe to the channel. That way more people can hear the truth that's been hidden from them. Because the more of us see it, the less power the shadow has to rule in silence. Jung described the shadow as everything about ourselves we refuse to accept. The qualities, impulses, and emotions we push out of sight. Over time, those rejected parts don't disappear. They weave themselves into our character, shaping how we act while pretending to stay hidden. The shadow disguises itself as your principles, your habits, even your sense of identity. What feels like, "this is just who I am," is often a patchwork of defenses built to keep you away from the truth. Complexes are the knots where these rejections live. A single memory, being shamed for anger, scolded for envy, ignored when you wanted attention, can form a cluster that quietly shapes your life for decades. You think you're choosing freely, but often it's the complex choosing for you. Freud spoke about repression and projection, the way we bury what feels unacceptable, then see it mirrored in others. You deny your own anger, and suddenly everyone around you seems hostile. You hide your envy, and you can't stop criticizing others for being greedy. These defenses protect you from shame in the moment, but the cost is high. Your energy drains into holding the mask, into constant vigilance against what you've disowned. And then come the archetypal roles we cycle through without realizing it. Victim, rescuer, persecutor. By day, you catch yourself playing them in conflicts and relationships. By night, they reappear in dreams. The endless loop of being chased, of saving others, of punishing or being punished. Dreams aren't fortune-telling. They're night letters from the shadow, reminding you of what you've refused to face. Even the body carries the weight. Anger stored in the jaw and fists, envy buzzing in the stomach, shame wrapped around the chest. Suppressing emotion isn't just a mental act. It's muscle work, held for years, draining life from you with every breath. The paradox is brutal. The harder you try to fix yourself by staying positive, disciplined, good, the more the shadow wins. Because fighting it only deepens its grip. The way forward isn't war, it's dialogue. It's letting the dark voice speak, not to obey it blindly, but to hear what it has held for you all these years. And here is the most painful truth. Until you admit your own aggression, your envy, your hunger for control, your shadow will keep driving. Even your best intentions will carry its fingerprints. Begin with the body because the shadow speaks there first. Notice what happens in moments of tension. The shallow breath, the knot in your stomach, the tightness in your throat. Instead of pushing through, pause. Place your attention on the sensation. Breathe into it slowly and let the body remind you. This is where the shadow lives. Try the stop technique when you feel yourself pulled into guilt or manipulation. The instant you notice the hook, the urge to justify, to over-explain, to smooth things over, silently say to yourself, stop. That word becomes a door. Behind it is the choice not to hand your energy away automatically. Keep a shadow catcher at night. Beside your bed, keep a notebook. Each morning before words like normal life can cover everything, spend 3 minutes writing down images or fragments from your dreams. Don't analyze, don't polish, just record. Over time, you'll see repeating patterns. They are the fingerprints of the parts you've repressed. Open a written dialogue with what you reject in yourself. Write a line. In me there is anger, envy, fear. What do you want from me? Then let the answer come. It may sound strange at first, but often the shadow doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to protect, to warn, to be acknowledged. Practice small boundaries each day. Choose one honest no and one honest yes. They don't have to be big. Declining a call when you're too tired. Saying yes to a walk instead of another hour of work. Each conscious choice rewires the nervous system to remember that your life belongs to you. Create rituals of closure. Write letters you'll never send. Finish promises you've left hanging. Give symbolic endings to what has drained you. The shadow thrives on what is unfinished. Completing it, even in symbolic form, frees the energy that's been trapped. And learn to turn projections back into responsibility. The next time you feel sharp judgment towards someone, ask, what in them mirrors something I don't want to see in myself? This question doesn't excuse others' behavior. It gives you back the part of yourself you've been disowning. The goal isn't to become healed or flawless. The goal is to gather back the scattered pieces of energy you left in repression, avoidance, and denial. Every time you reclaim one, the shadow loses a bit of its secret hold. Now share in the comments which practice speaks to you most. Write it down, not just for yourself, but so others can see they're not alone in this work. You began this journey feeling like life was happening on autopilot. Decisions made without you, every evening sinking into emptiness and shame. But step by step, through the cracks, you started to see the truth. The shadow wasn't your enemy. It was the part of you carrying everything you refused to look at. Integration means this. The anger you feared doesn't make you cruel. It makes you whole. The envy you hid doesn't make you bad. It shows you what you long for. The control you denied isn't weakness. It's the signal of where you're afraid to lose. Every piece you take back is energy returned. The final release is simple and difficult at once. The shadow only rules those who are afraid to notice their own truth. The moment you dare to look, you stop being a puppet. You may still feel pain, but it no longer drives the wheel. You steer, not over people, but over your own attention. Remember this, your shadow isn't darkness against you. It's the unlit room of your house waiting for you to open the door. This is only the beginning. Now choose your commitment. Write it in the comments so your voice becomes part of this space of practice and support. If you recognize yourself in these words, write, I no longer run from pain. Let's see how many here are ready for the truth. If you feel it's time to meet your shadow, write, my darkness is my strength. Let's create a community of those who are not afraid to look inside. If you're ready to stop playing roles, write, I take off the masks. Let's see who here is ready for real life. If this video changed something in you, write, I accept my shadow. Write it as a commitment to yourself.